Did you know that they've sold over 1 million Miatas? It's one of the best-selling sports cars out there. This is the 2021 Mazda MX-5 Club RF, and we're gonna take it for a drive. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix. This is the 2021 Mazda MX-5, also known as the Miata. This is the Club and the RF. So what RF stands for is retractable fastback. So it looks like a fastback, it's a two-seater sports car, but it has a lot more to offer for 2021. We're gonna go through this car in 10 different categories, because when you walk into the dealer, they're gonna try and sell you on this vehicle because that's their job. We're gonna give you information so that you have car smarts. So make sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you don't miss anything. We're gonna go through the 10 categories of performance, handling, safety, visibility, seating. We'll go through the technology, which is kind of limited in this car, and you'll see when we get to that chapter. Features, we'll also go to the outside, we'll talk about design, quality. In the trunk, we'll talk about cargo, the total value of this vehicle compared to its few competitors, and in the end, we will give you a Car Coach Reports total. We will also list the competitors in the description and links to those reviews to do all your homework for you. Let's take it for a drive. Under the hood is a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine with 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Redline is at 7,500 RPM, but the torque peak is about 7,000. Available in a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 time, 5.7 seconds. Torque peak's about 7,000. Wow, this thing is a blast to drive. There are no performance upgrades for 2021, although this car is still a blast no matter what year you drive one of these Miatas. And if you've ever owned one, you got to put it in the comments below, because these cars have so much fun wrapped up in such a little vehicle, and it's certainly not like your daily driver, which can be very boring. This vehicle is a blast to drive. Fuel economy is 26 miles to the gallon in the city, 34 on the highway. That is 29 miles to the gallon combined, and that's for the manual transmission, but it's certainly more fun to drive than the automatic. There's no performance upgrades for 2021. I would love to see an aftermarket exhaust on this vehicle so that it just has a little bit more throatiness, because this is a blast to drive. For performance, this vehicle earns a 9. There's a limited slip differential on this vehicle, which really helps keep the tires down on the ground. And in addition to that, you get your Bilstein shocks, your BBS wheels, your Brembo brakes. You have good stopping power and excellent go power, and just drop it down a gear and it just wants to go. It's a really nice balance when you add in a naturally aspirated 2-liter engine, and with the way this handling is set up on this vehicle. Now, I understand it's a little bit loud in this car, and part of that is just, it's the car. But I tell you what, this is so much fun to drive. The turning radius is super tight, and it has excellent grip with the roadway. I find it amusing that it tells you to upshift when you really don't have to, because it's telling you to upshift based on fuel economy, but then all the RPMs drop out of it, and that would be boring. You might as well just buy an automatic. This is a lot of fun. The MX-5 is a great 50-50 balance, which is what makes this Miata a wonderful race car as well. You'll see a lot of race cars that are the Miatas. There's actually a Miata racing class that runs in a couple different series, including SVRA, because there's just so many of them out there. Once you drive one, you certainly don't want to stop driving it. This vehicle is really easy to drive. If you've never driven a manual transmission, or you haven't driven one in a long time, you've got to try this vehicle. It's just a blast, and it's as much fun as the Mini Cooper is to drive, which is a direct competitor, as well as the Fiat Abarth. And there's links to those reviews down below. But I have to say, there's something about this Miata being a hardtop convertible, essentially, the retractable fastback, that makes this car just a blast to drive. And I've got a lot of high-performance cars in my garage. I would add this to my garage just to take it out on a cruise and have fun, because it's one of those vehicles you can't go wrong. When you're looking at the handling of this vehicle overall, whether it's braking, handling, and ride, just everything combined, this MX-5 deserves a 10. And if you haven't driven one in a long time, go drive one. You will not be disappointed, and you'll be smiling like I am. There's a lot of standard safety features on this vehicle. Some are easy to access, like the smart city brake support, the blind spot monitoring system, which, believe it or not, really is helpful. and lane departure warning. In addition to that, you've got quite a bit of safety features that are standard on this vehicle, and I suggest that you look at this list compared to its competitors. What is standard and the few options that are available makes this vehicle really safe. In the past, it's had top crash test ratings, and for that reason, for safety, this vehicle earns a 9. When you look out the front of this vehicle, 80% of your driving decisions are based on visibility. I think there's really good visibility with the top up or down. It's not a huge piece of glass out the front, but you can see the ground and you can see the corners of the car, which is good to be able to see where you're going. The sills where you might rest your arm are a nice, reasonable height, not too high, not too low. You can still see the ground. And then looking out the back with the top down, you can see that there is a windscreen here that is removable, but also when you put the top up, there is a piece of glass. So that also gives you really good visibility, and there is a backup camera with rear cross traffic alert. So when it comes to visibility, this vehicle earns a 9. When it comes to seating, there is room for 2 adults. There is no latch system, so no child safety seats could be installed on the passenger side safely. I ask that you not put a small child in a child safety seat in this vehicle. It just makes common sense. The standard seats are cloth. The upgraded seats can be leather, and these are the Recaro cloth seats, which have 3-stage heated seating and a heated steering wheel, which I think is critical. There's one last thing to note that I think is a negative, is that the seatbelts are not adjustable height. It's really hard to do that in a convertible. There's really no place to put it. So make sure when you sit in this vehicle, if you're going to buy one, that you look to see where the seatbelt comes across your body. Make sure it holds you in properly, and then also make sure that it's not bothering you. But overall for seating, I love these Recaro seats. The factory seats are good. The Recaros are by far the best with built-in lumbar on both sides, manual adjustments. That is fine, because I got in this vehicle and didn't have to adjust the seat other than front and back. It is a super comfortable seat, and you could go on a long road trip easily. So for seating, this vehicle earns a 9. When it comes to technology, this screen is what you've been seeing in Mazdas for quite a while. Now it is touch screen, so you can change it, and there's also a dial in the center that you can turn to get to whatever it is you would like to get to as far as the home screen. The home screen includes the communication. It also has applications, your audio system, which is a Bose system, your navigation, and your settings. I will show you that in the navigation settings, there is no navigation built into our test vehicle. You would use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which for 2021 is standard, and that's really nice, and it's wireless in the Grand Touring models. In the settings, you've got your display adjustments. You can also go into your safety settings, your sound system. You can adjust some additional formats, and then you've got your vehicle settings for locks and lighting, your devices, and of course your tools. Pretty easy stuff, pretty easy to use, so there's nothing that's high tech. When you're looking at the center gauges, there's really nothing much to write home about. That is your multimedia interface, which has not changed for the Mazda product line in many years. Your front gauge on the left side does have some additional information, which we'll talk about in features, but overall, when you're looking at technology for this car, it earns a 7. When you're looking at features for this Mazda product, on the right side, you have your cruise control, pretty simple. On the left side, you have your information for the third pod over on the left side. I'll show it to you in a second, and your phone system. No flat bottom steering wheel, which would be nice. The controls on the left are lighting, and on the right are the wiper blades. On the gauge that's directly in front of you, you have your tachometer. To the right of that is your speedometer. In that little teeny window right here, you will have the car telling you to shift up. I tend to ignore it because I like performance, not fuel economy. And then the rest of your gauges are here, and the information can be changed very easily by just telling it what you need it to do, and it will do it. To the left side of the steering wheel, there isn't much. You do have your ability to shut off your lane departure warning and shut off your limited slip. To me, that little button right there says stop and do a posi burnout. If you know what that means, you're laughing. If you don't worry about it. The center screen, which is quite small, but is totally fine for this vehicle because this vehicle is small and very minimalistic. You've got your 9-speaker Bose audio system right here, easy to use, and you can set all of the stations that you want, and that makes life a little bit easier. Further down, you've got your vent, your emergency lights, and your climate controls. Below that, you have the power top and your 3-stage heated seats for both seats. On the right, you've got 2 USB charging ports, an SD card, and a little bit of storage. There is no wireless charging. Not that that's needed. Next, we have my favorite, the manual transmission. It's a 6-speed manual. The gates are really nice, super easy to drive. And if you're trying to teach someone how to drive a manual transmission, this is one of those cars you would want to use. Over on the right are these removable cup holders. They're pretty simple to remove. You just lift them up. You want to put them back. You put them here, and there's a couple different spots for them. A manual parking brake, good for those parking brake turns. And then you've got your multimedia interface right here. Pretty easy to use. There's not much room in the center console. I have my garage door opener and some paperwork. That's about all there is room for. Behind you is another spot for 2 cup holders. You can move them around. And between the seats and back is some lockable storage. When it comes to features of this vehicle, there is not a lot. There is a lot of aftermarket parts you can buy. But overall, from the factory, this vehicle is perfect as it is. However, for features compared to the competitors, this vehicle earns a 7. The design of the MX-5 or the Miata hasn't changed too much over the years. There have been some upgrades like different LED headlights and some minor changes, including this front splitter, which is available on our Club RF. The logo on the front of the Mazda isn't too much in your face, and it's a pretty classy, clean line with the Mazda logo. Further down, your ventilation from your grills is really just the right amount, not too much. And again, the splitter really is nice, and there's no additional vents as you move your way around to the side of the vehicle. Our test vehicle has the BBS and Recaro package, which is about $4,600. That gives you 205, 45, 17 Bridgestone sticky tires on these really impressive BBS wheels. As a person who raced way back when on BBS, they're so cute. They're 17s. They're so used to 22s. But on this vehicle, this is more than enough and gives it a nice look, including those really nice red Brembo calipers. One of the nice things about the RF is the fact this retractable hardtop tucks nicely inside this tonneau cover, and it looks just as good up as it does down. When the windows are up, it continues that body line, which gives it a nice look, because sometimes in convertibles with the windows up and the top down, it doesn't look so cool. In this vehicle it does, and it fits in really nicely and keeps you in a cabin where you're still getting the sunlight, but you're not dealing with a lot of wind noise. In addition, this top goes up in about 13 seconds. There's also a little image here on the left pod to just show you that the top is on its way up and it latches right away. That's about 13 seconds. Same thing going the other way. Cannot be done at high speeds, but can easily be done when you're stopped at a traffic light or just driving at a really slow speed. The rear rims and tires are the same. They're still the Bridgestone Potenzas and the exact same size, which is good for tire rotation, but it also doesn't change the stance in the back. But this is a well-balanced vehicle. Coming around to the back, there really aren't many changes for 2021. I like the fact that the satellite radio antenna is right here in the middle, nice and clean with this little teeny wing. That iconic antenna, it's a bit characterish, but it's part of what makes this Miata or MX-5 what it is. For design as a whole, this vehicle earns a 9. When you're talking about quality, this vehicle really does perform. Not just in the paint colors and the quality of the paint, but also the build quality and the materials and the brands that they're using. No names like BBS, Brembo, and of course Recaro are all top of the line. And that includes the audio system and everything. Yes, the interface is a bit dated, but does that make a difference in quality? No, because it works. And with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty plus roadside assistance, Mazda has really done a great job keeping this brand alive. While other manufacturers have disposed of their sedans and their sports cars, Mazda was smart to keep this alive because they've already sold 1 million cars, and I think there's another 1 million coming down the road because this car is just a blast to own. For quality, it earns a 10. Coming around to the back, you've got about 5 cubic feet of storage. It is a high liftover and it is a deep well, but compared to its competitors, it has quite a bit of storage. And it's really more for a few bags at the grocery store, but certainly not for a long road trip because there just isn't a lot of room in there for that laptop case and your luggage. Depends how you pack. If you pack like me, it's kind of on the heavy side. When you're looking at value of this vehicle, it starts around $33,000. Adding on that $6,000 Brembo, Recaro, and BBS package gives you all the goodies that you absolutely need in this vehicle because it gives it a better handling package. This vehicle came in at $39,000. When you're looking at the value compared to its competitors, the Fiat, the Mini, even the Mustang and the Camaro, this has a value score of 9. When you total up all 10 categories, you can see how much fun this vehicle is to own. You could drive it year-round. You'll probably need some winter tires if you live in the upper half of the country. But overall, this vehicle is literally a blast to drive. And when we got it a week ago, all I've been doing is driving it. It is really a lot of fun. And I have some other cool cars to drive. But this is one of the cars you would absolutely want in your garage if you're truly a car enthusiast. And the value on it certainly makes everything total up to a really good total. A Car Coach reports total of 89. Other contributors on our Car Coach Reports website have reviewed this vehicle, and we've all had a great time driving this. This is a car that makes you smile all the time. If we didn't answer all your questions about any of the trim levels of the Miata or MX-5, put it in the comments down below. We'll be happy to answer it. If you bought one of these, we'd love to know why you did, and if you didn't, what did you buy and why? This all starts the community and the conversation. We also continue that conversation on our social media, at all forms of social media, at Lauren Fix. Don't forget to check out our podcast, Total Car Score. It's on all platforms. We're really having a great time talking to executives and giving you some insight that you're not getting anywhere else. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss anything in the future, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.